want to remind everybody to take a look at the Women in Drones webpage because we have the Women to Watch going on right now. Definitely want to voice your opinion in there because there, like we said, so many amazing people in the industry. So we have Cheryl Contreras. She is with Iris Automation, and she is going to share about what Iris is doing in the UAS industry. And I bet you're going to love this. It's super exciting. So Cheryl, thank you. Thank you for joining us. And I'm going to make you a spotlight for everyone.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for having me today. I'm so excited. When I originally got told about the opportunity, I was just elated. So with that, and especially with the conversation we were just having about drones being toys, I think that's also a great segue. So if you don't mind, I'm going to share my screen here. And Desi or Kim, are we good to go on that? Can everybody see this?
Yeah, yes, I love your nails, by the way. Thanks for sharing your screen so we can see how marvelous your nails are.
You'll see me as I scroll through. Thank you. So I lead flight operations here at Iris Automation. I'm director of flight operations. And what we're doing here is safely enabling beyond visual line of sight flights. And I just want to touch on a few highlighted points here. We don't have a lot of time, and I'm way more excited to talk, outside of this as well, if anybody has questions. So just a little agenda on what I'm going to touch on today, a brief background on myself, just so you kind of understand where I'm coming from in my experience. Then leading a flight operations and really key takeaways really enabled me to do that. What Casia is, so what our products is, and why DAA is critical for air risk mitigation. And then, of course, at the end, we'll wrap up with some questions and answers. And again, offline, I'm always available to answer questions as well. So just a little background on myself. Again, I'm the director of flight operations here at Iris. I lead flight missions on a daily basis, both out of our Reno office and across the US. Now, that entails working demonstrations for both customers as well as partners. We have a lot of people that we work with, a lot of great universities and partners, and of course, all of our customers are amazing as well. I've been in aviation since a young age. I actually originally started wanting to do Air Force JAG, did some work with the Air Force, was actually working at a law firm after I graduated from college, and that's when I started working on my private pilot license. That quickly went into I love flying, I love aviation, and just really changed my whole life, honestly, for the better. I love what I do. I love being in this industry, both on the GA side and the UAS side. And so that was really a pivotal point in my life and has brought me here today. At around that same time, I believe I originally started for Iris as an assistant, moving my way up to a tech and an everyday operator, then getting up to our deputy head of flight operations, and now being director for probably about the past year now. Again, I'm here at Iris. I'm a director, but I also utilize myself as a remote pilot as well. And what we're doing is running a test program to support our DAA system, which comes in a wide variety of products that we offer. I also work for Zeo Air and Airversity. And so what I do is I kind of man up their operations team there as well as do a training consultant for them. What we do there is simplify the inspection process for customers, pretty much all web-based and kind of sending everybody out. And it just really makes that whole transition very seamless. We've also just started opening our Center of Excellence for training in the Atlanta area. And so that's going to be amazing. And I'm really excited to help lead that up. I also had an amazing opportunity to work with Intel and do their Shooting Star drone show. Our most recent one was the Christmas one, and we had about 600 to 900 drone show. And it was sponsored by Walmart. And it was one of the most amazing things that you can see is having that many drones up in the air at one time. So with that said, I'll go ahead and move forward here and just talk a little bit about leading a flight operations team. I find myself always talking about safety when we're talking about a team and within the UAS industry. I think this, again, leading back to a drone being a toy. I am definitely on the side that it's not. I believe in regulations. I believe in safety standards. I believe you need those. Those are all lessons learned that people have learned before and that you bring forward into your everyday operations. So there's many, many ways that you can really combat safety. I find structure, I find scheduling, I find having a lot of things in place help you. So you may be questioning, what are those things? So schedules daily, putting out plans of the week so your pilots know what to expect and what's coming their way. And a lot of that is all guided by what you're actually testing, what aircraft you're using, autopilots, all those fun things. And that all really needs to be preceded by flight operations manuals that really gives pilots a good guideline on what to follow and how to go through everything. And just reinforces those safety structures. One policy that we have here at IRIS on the flight team is anybody can say no at any time. And if you're feeling unsafe, if you're unsure of something, anybody can say no, top of the totem pole all the way down to the bottom. And I love that policy because what it does is, again, make sure that everybody's comfortable with what they're doing and making sure that your operations are really running smoothly and efficiently. Following up to a flight operations manual, having standard operating procedures and having checklists. We can have a checklist for everything you do in your life. And I find myself doing, even in my personal life, doing checklists because of how thorough and efficient it makes everything. And so the whole idea of that is really making sure that you can hand this checklist over to somebody not even on your team and be able to set up a full aircraft, know the limitations, know what to expect from that aircraft and what behavior to expect from it. And when you have guidelines like those in place, it makes sure that every time you're out there flying, you know what to expect, you know what the aircraft's going to do. And if you see anything outside of that, there's something wrong. And so you should probably not fly that aircraft that day. And of course, falling into regulations under 107 and making sure that you're knowledgeable on that your whole team is, and that you're abiding by that. Every day that you're out there is a huge, huge safety buffer that you need to go under. Going to that, having experienced pilots with a really wide skill set is something that is needed. I will tell you, we have an amazing flight team here at IRIS. We have a lot of 107 pilots, but a lot of them have skill sets outside of that. They're commercially rated pilots. Most of them have a PPL or working on PPL. And that really ties into aviation knowledge. Again, going back how drones are not toys. They have limitations. They're affected by things like weather, your environment, pretty much anything that Mother Nature can throw at you, right? So having that skill set for both aviation knowledge and then to know about aircraft, their limitations, how to fix them, how to turn them around. Those are all things that you need for a flight team to make sure that you guys are, again, running efficiently and are running to the top of your ability, really. I have found a lot of times knowing limitations on aircrafts in different areas. Again, we've gone across the US, right? So going back to aviation knowledge, knowing how weather is going to affect your operations, knowing how density, altitude, how temperature, how thermals, everything like that plays a huge role in day-to-day operations. And so it really is more than playing with a toy, right? Sometimes you can have something as small as a Mavic, or you can have something almost 55 pounds. And the way that weather and how temperature, density, altitude, again, all those things will affect it, plays a role in day-to-day operations. With that, I will say anybody working in this industry definitely knows that learning and training is never going to end. I think you can be the most experienced person and you're still going to learn something new every day, especially with how quickly the UAS industry is going, how many more aircraft are coming out every day. It's never going to stop. And personally, for me, that's one of the reasons why I love this industry, is because it's just advancing, and it's advancing quickly, and technology is just getting better and better, and it offers you that opportunity to learn and grow with it. And I don't really ever see that stopping. With that being said, I think Casia is one of those technologies that's going to grow. It's going to get better. And we are here for the industry. And it's something that I believe is definitely needed. So I kind of want to go into Casia and what our product is. So in very layman's terms, it's a collision avoidance safety hardware system for UAS. We're a vision-based detect and avoid system for UAS. We also utilize ADS-B signals. So if you take a look at our pictures here, you can see we have Casia 1 at top. That's our Casia module we have there with one camera that's forward facing usually. That gives you 50 degrees view, horizontal, and then 80 degrees vertical. And what it does is it detects aircraft, or non-cooperative aircraft, I should say, in your field of view. It gives you an option to auto avoid this non-cooperative aircraft, or to just alert the operator who's on ground through the GCS station and have them take control of the actual aircraft, or get it out of the way, pause operations, whatever it may be. So we have both options. What our flight operations team does is we do real world encounter testing. So we have GA pilots on staff that we do this, and we prove it out every day. The system works, and I've seen it do it a million times. We work with a wide variety of aircraft and autopilots. So I would say we have anywhere from 12 to 15. We're growing so fast, our fleet, that it's hard to keep count. And these are all different airframes, different autopilots that we have here. And it's really a plug and play hardware, if you will. So I would compare it to really integrating any sensor or any kind of payload onto your aircraft, just thinking out the process and then getting it in there. And so again, once it's on board, it's there forever, just like any kind of payload would be, until you decide that you don't want it on there. But I'm going to tell you, once you have Casia, you're never going to want to take it off of your aircraft. It definitely provides you everything that you need. And it's really self-contained, small package, lightweight, low power draw. It's very ideal for really any aircraft type. With that being said, I want to point you to Casia X. So Casia X is one of our newer products. You'll see there that you can have the option of 5 cameras. What this does is take you from just being forward facing and getting that 80-degree view into having the ability to do 360. So now what you're doing is not only clearing out the airspace in front of you, you're clearing your airspace all around you, still with the same options to auto avoid or have the operator on ground take control. So it's really, again, going back into that safety that I was talking about. This is a safety buffer that you need, your pilots need, because think about it, this is an eye in the sky for the pilot itself. So you can run really back and forth and say, you know, as a pilot, I can see X, X, and X in the sky, while Casia is going to be there helping you all along the way. And then with that use of ADS-B, now we have it even further out, because really all you're limited to there is what you have on board to actually get that ADS-B signal coming in. And I think another good point here is that we're being compliant with regulations and standards, and really trying to push this industry forward with the use of DAA. And we're doing that in, again, another safe way. Before I move forward, there's something I want to also mention here. It's a product, kind of early access, that I want to tell you guys about is our Casia G. So Casia G is this whole lovely package here, but ground-based. So when you can think of clearing an airspace and what people have used in the past, you may think of radars, ground-based radars that you have to set up daily, move around. Maybe they're weatherproof, maybe they're not. What are their ranges? We actually have, in a way, captured this and made it ground. So let's say you have an area that you are going to fly missions on a daily basis, and maybe you're limited for payload because it's a smaller aircraft, and you want to test out different sensors, you want to test out different payloads. With Casia G on ground, you can clear your airspace as well. So what you'll do is clear your airspace, set up here off to the side. Again, very low space, very easy setup. I've done it myself. Definitely in under an hour, I think way quicker than it would be to pre-flight an aircraft. and you're setting this up. And what you're doing is doing the same thing you were doing before, except for your aircraft's not going to auto avoid, but you are going to have all these messages coming down to your ground station that you're operating off of the Casia ground to see any kind of non-cooperative aircraft in the area. And then again, give the operator the option to either ground your aircraft, move it out of the way, whatever is safest for your operations at that time. And that's something not included here, but it's definitely a product that I wanted to tell you guys about because it's, in my mind, just another amazing thing that we need, right? And you can just think of the endless opportunities with that. So I kind of want to touch on why BAA is critical for air risk mitigation. Again, going back into that safety, it provides another safety layer that's necessary for the advancement of aircraft, moving it, primarily drones, and preventing mid-air collisions. Again, going to back how it provides an eye in the sky for your operators, both whoever you have, on your RPIC, your GCS. This really gives them that second layer and protects everybody on the flight team. What a DA system does is really help enable beyond visual line of sight flights. And this can be for multiple reasons, right? You think of drone deliveries and how big that's coming up during this time mid-pandemic, and the need for that and how we have that push where, prior to the pandemic, I saw it a few years out. It's way more prevalent now and it's happening. And so having a DA system on board enables you to go beyond your visual line of sight, to get more efficient, to get farther, to actually make that a reality. Then you're thinking again to air taxis and not having somebody there in the cockpit to fly you around, and kind of doing that no contact. DA system, again, perfect for it, will enable you to do those long flights, and keep everybody safe on board. Then you have inspections, and this could really go through, in my mind, any kind of sector. When you go into inspections, I find now that you have a lot of people, staying within visual line of sight or maybe extended, and then you're having to pick up your whole setup, go down a pipeline or power line, whatever you may be inspecting, reset up, pre-flight, and then fly the next portion. If you can go beyond visual line of sight and your aircraft has the flight time, then you can fly miles down and miles back. And then that's just improving your opportunity costs, your efficiency, pilots, and really getting crew rest and being tired while they're out there. It's just going to really improve everything for you. And then you think about it, when you have some of these inspections, especially pipelines, a lot of people have manned aircraft doing that at this time. They're flying lower altitudes. Sometimes you're missing things because of weather. You're thinking of your opportunity costs there, and then your efficiency again. If you can utilize UAS instead of manned aircraft, you're just picking up that efficiency and cost for something that's low cost, lightweight, and is very simple to use, honestly. Casia, again, is a DA system and is really the key to providing all these things, the opportunity to open up to the world and for it to be utilized. Again, low cost, very easy to integrate with your aircraft. We are continually improving our product, and that goes into all of them. Casia 1, Casia X, Casia G, all of them are constantly being upgraded. We're getting better and better. We're adhering to any standards that we need to. And really, that's all because we want to see all of these things happen in the world. They're all necessary. We're all in a time right now where we see the necessity of this. And we're trying to make that better every day, which is why our flight team is out probably 4 days a week flying to make this product better and better. And it's a product that's already amazing and it works, and we're only going to make it better. And again, I can't speak any less on safety and how much it's actually needed, especially in this industry. And this product just improves the safety of your whole UAS fleet. So you're protecting your pilots, you're protecting your aircraft, you're protecting your company, you're protecting really everything you need with the DAA system. And with that, I know I just had a few highlights there. So I want to kind of open it up for anybody to ask any questions.
Awesome. Thank you so, so much. And so if anybody has questions, go ahead and put them in the chat and we will kind of work through those. While we're waiting for some of the questions to pop in here, can you explain what ADSB was? Some people may not know what that term actually means, and yet it's so important and awesome that you are doing it. And I know it's a little bit different than what we would expect as far as remote ID.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, so ADSB is a signal that any manned aircraft is going to put out. I believe it was in 2020 that the FAA made it mandatory within the US that any general aviation going out needs to put out this signal. So that's a benefit for us. It's really a safety feature, one of those safety features in the sky that was primarily used by manned aviation, and it gives you a sense of where other aircraft is. You know, if somebody's behind you, you may not be able to see them while you're facing forward in the cockpit. So what we're doing on ground is now utilizing that the FAA has as a standard now and that you have to have it. And since we're flying against GA and we want to enable things like drone deliveries, air taxis, inspections, we're utilizing that signal that manned aircraft is putting out, using it to make sure that we are staying clear of any non-cooperative aircraft in the area.
Awesome. And it looks like we do have some questions that are popping into the chat there. And if you want, you can bring down your presentation. And I did also see that Cheryl has logged in 3 times now. So I'm thinking we have some of your team members have now joined us as well. And so some of the questions that are popping in here, you can probably see them in the chat as well. With 5-camera system, what side is not observed?
With the 5-camera system, we see 360, so all sides are being seen. It really depends on the aircraft you're using and how you're going to actually integrate it into it. But the idea of 5 cameras, you are going to get that 360 view. And so it's just making sure you're placing them in areas that you can see all of that. And we have a great team on staff here that helps with integration to make sure that you're actually getting that whole view.
All right. Any pictures with the Casia on the UAS?
Yeah, I have some. I unfortunately don't have any on here, but if you feel free to reach out to me, I can get that for you. Also, I encourage you to go look at our website. We have a few aircraft on there that you can see the payload on as well.
Okay, leads us to the next question. What is a payload?
A payload is anything that you're going to incorporate into your aircraft, and they all have different reasons. It's really going to depend on the mission that you're flying at that time. So a great example of this is I test a DAA system. So my payload is going to be my DAA system, where if you're doing an inspection, you may have some type of camera, some type of thermal camera, whatever you need for that. So anything that you're adding additionally onto the aircraft that you need to accomplish your mission.
All right. Looks like we have several questions still coming in here. What are you using blockchain for data security?
For our security, we do everything in-house here. So we have a great team of engineers, software engineers, and then of course our R&D team. And so what they do is handle security on the module itself.
And what is the weight and size of the payload?
So it depends on which payload you're going to choose. Of course, Casia ground is on the ground, so that's the beauty of that. You don't have to worry about it. Casia 1, I believe it's a few hundred grams, very light, and I think I've incorporated onto aircraft that way, like anywhere from 8 to 10 pounds with room for additional payload. Casia X, of course, is going to be a little more because you have more cameras and the module itself is bigger. I believe it's a few pounds, and apologies for not knowing it off the top of my head, but we're carrying all of these payloads on aircraft well under 55 pounds. Again, encouraging you to go to the site where we have a full breakdown of stats and full specs on all of these products for you guys.
Awesome. So when a pilot is notified that there is aircraft in the vicinity or something in the vicinity? How does that actually come through to notify them?
Yeah, so again, it's going to depend on what autopilot you're using. But all of these notifications will come down to your ground station. So I can use Mission Planner if anybody's familiar with that and how it will come down to you. You'll have an ADS-B icon and you'll see it similar to what you see when you're actually flying a little plane. And then for anything vision-based, you'll see the same icon moving along with it.
Awesome. I think we've pretty much covered the questions. If anybody has anything else, and then Cheryl, can I put your information into the chat? So if somebody wanted to reach out to you direct, would it be all right?
Yeah, of course.
Awesome. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put that in there and share that. And does anybody, oh, I was just talking about the limitations of the VO in some circumstances, missions. Is that what the intention of this product is as well?
Talking about the limitation of the VOs.
So
yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so as far as what Casia goes, it is a safety buffer, if you will, that enables this. So in regards to VOs, of course, if you're going to fly anything beyond visual line of sight, you're going to need to apply for waivers. You're going to need to do that all regulated, right, and get permission for that, which actually IRIS can help with as well. We have a regulatory resource center. So if you go onto our site, you'll find out about that and how we can actually help you while utilizing a Casia product to get those. As far as VO goes, I mainly am operating under Part 107, and so everything is within visual line of sight unless I'm doing something under a waiver. So really the intention of this product is to give you that safety buffer and let you know when non-cooperative aircraft is in the area. And when you're flying beyond visual line of sight, what it does is do the same thing. So when you're out there flying and you can't see the aircraft and you don't know what's in its way, it will let you know if there's other aircraft in the area. Again, giving the operator the opportunity to take manual control of the aircraft itself and get it out of the way, or through Casia for it to automatically avoid that aircraft and prevent that mid-air collision.
What an impressive system. All right. So we do need to segue to our breakout sessions. And thank you so much, Cheryl. It was fantastic. Like I said in the very beginning while we were offline, how impressed I am with IRIS. And I've just for years been enjoying the transitions that I've seen. So thank you so much for sharing with us today.